to license it.
Meep meep.
Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1:53 scale Siku brand Peugeot 205 CTI. It's number 1071 in the series. Like many of my models, this one is pretty well play-worn, scuffed up and scratched on the edges, but the wheels are in terrific condition. I'll reuse those and just give this a paint cleanup and maybe learn a few lessons along the way. Stay tuned to the end of this video. And I want to say another thank you. A mini milestone has been reached, 500 subscribers now. Just one video earlier, I was at 400. And so the channel is growing very quickly. But more than the number of subs, I'm most interested in the fact that my regular viewers represent 41 different countries that I know of. Many of you, I don't know where you're watching from. I've been very lucky to have interesting work that has taken me around the world. I've now lived in 7 different countries and I've visited more than 70. So when you leave a respectful comment on one of my videos, be sure to tell me where you're watching from, okay? That's what I like most about this hobby. The very interesting and international community on YouTube that I've become part of in these last couple of months. So thank you, all subscribers, old and brand new. We share a common interest that has brought us together on this channel. Well, the little Siku came apart just fine with no problems up until this point, and as is standard procedure, it goes back into the bench vise. I've swapped out the drill bit for 2mm Oh. That is the very first time this has ever happened to me. Not only did I break the drill bit, I did it twice. And it blew out that post. There is something really evil in that front post, and I'm going to have to give some attention to that later on in the video. But first I let my emotions cool down, and I put all the interior plastic bits into this wash tub for a scrubbing. And here's a new move I'm trying out. The metal base, which is my preference to work on over plastic. Usually there's some lime or calcium oxidation on there, and today I'm trying this greenish liquid. It's actually a vinegar-based cleaner. Vinegar is a natural solvent. So my hope and expectation is this will have the same kind of chemical reaction that some of you know CLR, calcium lime rust remover. There's different decalc solutions. This is just the vinegar based, and it came out after about, I would say, 6 or 7 minutes, looking spectacularly clean. And I just give it a light brushing with the wire brush on the Dremel tool, followed by some metal polish, and I changed to a buffing attachment here. If you're new to this, you think it's going black, what have I done wrong? I wanted this to come out shiny silver. Well, you just need to persevere. This is sort of the natural process that it goes through. You'll see it get cleaned up here in just a few moments. And I polish that off and clean it, and look at that. That's better than new. And the casting body was in the paint stripping gel for about that same length of time. Let's say 20 minutes. And with a little gentle persuasion from my wife's toothbrush, that comes off pretty easily. So from here I give it a good bristle brushing in the laundry room tub, and I was not 100% successful. This is a pretty true paint job, so it's going to need some more attention. Back to the Dremel tool and a different disc on here. This is a wire brush. And most of the paint that remains, you can see, is in the crevices and the shot lines of the car, and it doesn't take very long to clean it up in this way. And this is the time that I'm also looking for imperfections in the car. I changed the brush again to a different shape. This is my preference for working on the inside. And inevitably, you just got to go back to some attention by hand, and I use my craft knife here, a scalpel style, to take out whatever is left. Here I'm using some diamond files along the casting edges. If I see a little burr or a casting line, this is the time to take care of that. And I have found that there is absolutely no substitute for the very fine steel wool. This is 0000, and that's the last bit of attention that I'll give to this in the bare metal work. And the little Peugeot comes out quite nicely. But that steel wool leaves a terrible mess, as you can see. And it's worth a moment here to carefully brush that away, because most often, at least on my hobby bench, right after that comes the painting, and you don't want any of this fine steel wool dust flying around. Although the little windshield was in pretty good shape, after you brush it clean with soapy water, generally you find out there's a couple of scratches there. Consider how much paint damage is done on the edges and the lines. You can easily imagine that the plastic windshield gets its share of mistreatment as well. And so very, very fine wet dry sandpaper, right up to 3000 grit, takes care of that. And then I'm going to use a well-known tip and just dip that into some floor polish. This is Pledge Revive It. And I wick off a little bit of excess there. So when I leave it to dry with a plastic cover on it, there are no drips, no runs on there. And this will give it not only extra protection, but a real nice shine. And those come out looking new if you've done a good job of prep work and sanding. This is some engine degreaser that I use on my real car, and it's a good step before paint. Now, tip number one in today's video is this: if there's one piece of equipment that's actually a financial investment, it's my airbrush. And I'm new to the hobby and new to airbrushing, and the maintenance is important. And I don't have a clue how to clean one of these, so I went online and did some research. Everything I've learned in this hobby has been from YouTube videos, and Diecast Graveyard is one of my favorites. If you have found my channel because you like diecast cars, then you are most definitely familiar with Uncle Paulie. And not only does he do outstanding diecast restorations, he is a really, really great teacher. And he walked me through how to take apart the airbrush and clean it. Even though I had a totally different model, the parts are essentially the same. And as you can see, I was successful in that, and I put it back together, and off we go. So I've left a link in the description of this video for Diecast Graveyard, and I encourage you to check that out. It is one of the very best that I have found. It's one of my favorites. And Uncle Paulie gave me his permission, we communicated, to put a link in here, so I appreciate that, brother, and you be safe in Florida, especially Florida. with all that's going on. That's the new epicenter of the whole corona thing. But God bless you, and thanks for helping me and so many others. Now, I have taped off the base that was really cleaned up well, and I've decided, instead of chrome bumpers, the little bit of a facelift that I'm giving the Peugeot today is going to have black bumpers. So the chrome taped off in the middle will remain silver looking. And the interior is going to get a white. It's going from cream to white. I've already primed these. I drive a little cabrio over here. It's a black car with a black interior and a black roof. And I want the Siku driver to be more comfortable. Now, we are back to repairing that blown out post. Remember when I was tapping those? The rear one, no problem. And here's a close-up of the damage that was done to the front. So once again, how do I fix this up? Well, I did some more research and I found another great YouTube tutorial. And another Paul. This is Fat Guy Productions. He's got a great channel too. And Paul demonstrates in one special tutorial video how to fix a blown out post. And I have taken his techniques, modified them only slightly due to what I actually have on my hobby bench here. So I'm taking a fairly heavy plastic drinking straw, and I've snipped that down and I'm just rolling it into a little tighter circumference, wrapping that well with some clear tape. So all I'm doing is making a little cylinder here that's going to fit over the post. And this is sort of my mold for how I'm going to fix this up. Now, when I'm watching YouTube videos of diecast restorations, I always leave a comment, and I've often said, hey, that was an honest video because you included some of the mistakes that you made and how you repaired it and got through it. And you know what? I could have edited this right out and you would have never known that I broke a drill bit or blew out a post, but my YouTube channel is a record of my journey here, and these are still my beginner videos, and so I just want to chronicle my victories and my losses, and one day I'll look back on these, and maybe you're new to the hobby and you want to know how to fix this up. So I have packed that cylinder with baking soda and applied some super glue. And in very short order, that becomes as hard as cement. And I'm doing a test fit here. There's the back that was not damaged. And you can see now I've got a little bit of shaving and shaping to do on the front. I just did the rough packing and building up of the post. Now I've got to make it fit to size. And I'm going to test fit it a couple of times while I use this sanding drum on my Dremel tool. And I'll take a little bit off and then I'll test fit it. Shave it to keep it clean. And it doesn't take very long at all before that's just the perfect size. So I have to go to the store and replace my drill bits. Bought 3 of them, and here's attempt number 2 at drilling out the now repaired front post. And what I hope is the final test fit, not final reassembly. We're not there yet, but I want to make sure, look at that. That's the back, that's okay. Now here's the test to see if I was successful on the front. And that's got good grab, and you can see that it fits perfectly. So, another link to Fat Guy Productions in the description below, and you can watch his excellent tutorial. And I pass those on to you as some tips that I have learned. And there's lots of information out there. Well, the body took a little bit of a beating there with all that work, and so some wet sanding, and back into the spray booth for 2 more coats, and this is the final wet coat of the same red, just to cover up any of the little nicks and scuffs that I put on it while I was repairing that post. Nice little car, isn't it? It says made in West Germany on the bottom, and I've told you, I think the quality of the Sikus is outstanding. Think of the real German automobiles that you know. That's Volkswagen and Audi and Mercedes and BMW and Porsche. Well, they put the same kind of care into these little scale cars. And you would be fortunate if you come across one of these one day. Snatch it up, get one on eBay, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. The great quality here. This one is going back together quite nicely. And I actually changed that cabrio top from black that I initially sprayed it to white to match the interior. A little cooler in the summer. But the chrome bumpers are now black. And we already know that repaired post takes a screw nicely in the front, as it just did. And the little 205 CTI is finished. Let's have a closer look at this. Alright, still a good roller. So, black bumpers, front and back, original wheels, white interior and white cabrio top. I like to put a vanity license plate on mine. Chromed up the door handles and the key latches in the Peugeot emblem front and back. And that's a cute little car. My wife drives a Peugeot. She's on her second one now. It was beat up and scratched up and well loved. In the end, it was quite a simple facelift that I did. Here's the finished product, but I will consider this video to be one with a couple of lessons learned and tips that I have been able to pick up and pass on to you. It goes into the gift bag and gets a guaranteed second life. Give this video a thumbs up, won't you? And come back real soon. It's coffee time.